Hey guys, so a lot of things have been happening recently that I haven't had time to make videos about yet. So I'm gonna try to talk about all of them in this video. So this is going to be a Ben 10 news video where I talk about all the things that have came out recently that I want to talk about. And first, the biggest thing that has came out that everybody wants me to talk about is 5 years later, Chapter 7. Alright, so first off, keep in mind, it's been a week since I read it, and I only read it once. So here's my thoughts on it. It was good. It was what I originally expected the chapter to be like, where it would just be another chapter where the characters just kind of talk to each other and no real action. And yeah, that's exactly what it was. Of course, you all know I later made that Fury video last week, right before the chapter released, because my expectations for the chapter had changed. But my original expectations were more accurate to what this chapter was, which was no action. Just, people talking to each other. Which is, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just, it tries really hard to be the most emotional chapter ever by having Ben finally talk to Grandpa Max about the stress he's been going through and how he hasn't even been taking care of himself or anything. Ben has just not been in good shape lately, and it tries to pull out your heartstrings and all that. Again, it's been a week since I last read it, but I remember when I read it, I was thinking to myself, this would probably hit me harder the second time I read the chapter after I read, like, the previous chapter right before it, maybe. I don't know. So, yeah. This is basically my quick thoughts on 5 years later, chapter 7. Like, it's cool to see Technus using nanites from Generator X. It's all cool, but it's all just also teasing the next chapter, which Kuro has actually said that the next chapter will be 100 pages long. So, I don't know how that's going to turn out. Yeah. Anyways, so another like 5 years later related thing I need to talk about is just simply the fact that I have also started editing the Wiki for 5 years later, and it's been a lot of fun, but it's also been very time consuming, along with another project I'm working on that I'll save until the end of the video. But yeah, that's the reason why, like last week, when I released like 3 or 4 videos, and it was cool how I was actually being able to release multiple videos in a week for once. That was fun. But then, like this week, I've just been working on the 5 years later wiki, and that's what I've been doing every day. So I hadn't had time to make videos or record the Ben 10 podcast or any of that. Anyways, so what will be the topic of the next episode of the Ben 10 podcast? It'll probably be Innervation. So, Innervation is going to be the 5-part um, Ben 10 reboot season 2 finale. Um, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's already aired in Asia as of yesterday. So yeah. Here's the thing. I know that some people that don't even like the reboot are actually excited for Innervation and all that because oh my gosh, it's going to have like Vilgax and the Fulmini and all that. And yeah, I'm just not really all that excited for it, honestly. I'll definitely check it out. I'm glad that the teasers for it are not playing up the goofiness of the reboot and instead like trying to make it look kind of serious. So, like the advertisements for it are like actually trying to make it look like a serious event and raising the stakes. But I still don't really care that much about it. So yeah, there's my thoughts on Innervation. I'll watch it for sure, but I'm not really all that excited for it. But you guys know what I'm actually excited for: Crossover Nexus. So, let's talk a little bit about OKKO because recently a couple of new episodes of it came out, and the very last one at least kind of sets up the, the Crossover Nexus in a way. Anyway, but let's talk about what actually happened with Crossover Nexus. Alright, so on this one website that shows the schedule for upcoming OKKO episodes, it says like Crossover Nexus will be airing on October 8th. So that'll be how many weeks from now? Uh, that will be almost like 2 weeks. Yeah, it'll be like 3 weeks from now actually. All right. Yeah, no, I think 3 weeks. Anyway, so Crossover Nexus will air on October 8th, 2018, and the description is also put on this website, and it's the worst description I have ever seen for both an OKKO episode and a crossover event. Friends try to save Lakewood Plaza by overcoming obstacles placed by the evil Lord Boxman. That's it. It doesn't list off any of the shows that are in this crossover. All it says is like they're going to save the plaza by overcoming obstacles placed by the bad guy. Okay. This is like what happens in every episode with Lord Boxman in OKKO. What makes this one stand out? Other than it has the word friends in it. It doesn't list any of the shows that are in the crossover. It's dumb. But anyways, so yeah, that's all the story information that was revealed recently. Just like they're gonna save the plaza from Lord Boxman. Wow, amazing. That's never been done before on OKKO. Anyways, let's talk about the last episode of the show that was actually released because I feel like it really does help set up what's going to actually happen in this episode. So with season 2 of OKKO, for like the first half of it, Lord Boxman was not actually working at Boxmore anymore, his company that he runs where he builds evil robots. And he was actually kicked out of his company, shot out of a cannon into the sun, and then his son Daryl, who is technically a robot too that he built, Daryl actually took over Boxmore. And then, like in season 2, this all happened during the season 1 finale. In season 2, like Lord Boxman just kind of returned to Earth. He doesn't even have a tan from spending an entire season break on the sun. But yeah, he returns to Earth and tries to take back control over Boxmore, but he realizes that Boxmore has been doing way better without him in charge. It's been going way better with just Daryl. So then he left Boxmore, and then we finally find out what Lord Boxman has been doing since that episode at the beginning of season 2. So in this episode, we see him actually sleeping in a garbage can at Professor Venomness's house. Professor Venomness is like one of the more serious villains of the show, but yeah, he has a lot of really funny reactions to everything that Lord Boxman does. And yeah, So this episode kind of shows that, like, Professor Venomous is so good at being a villain that he's gotten bored of it. He doesn't even have to leave his chair anymore to get tons of money in his bank and do the most evil things ever, because all he needs to do is use this giant laser cannon outside of his house to vaporize buildings. And so he's so bored of being a villain now. And then Lord Boxman shows up, and then he's like, "Oh, why don't we just go attack the plaza because it's so much fun?" And Professor Venomous actually does have a ton of fun attacking the plaza in that episode. And so he realizes that he should now become Lord Boxman's business partner. So, like, now Boxmore is being led um, what's the word? Co-managed by both Lord Boxman and Professor Venomous. And so, yeah, basically I just told you the entire plot of season 2 just to say that Professor Venomous is probably going to be in Crossover Nexus. Alright. So yeah, they'll probably be fighting both Boxman and Venomous, unless if Venomous leaves Boxmore before Crossover Nexus comes out. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So that's all I had to say about Crossover Nexus. I'm still looking forward to it. I love OKKO. It's a really good show. And now let's talk about the biggest thing I've been working on, even bigger than the 5 years later Wiki. So I have been working on a video game for about a month now for Ben 10. I've been working on a Ben 10 fan game called Ben 10 RPG. I can't say a whole lot about it right now, but it's going to be a turn-based RPG, kind of like the classic Final Fantasy, Pokemon, Paper Mario, etc., where you get to play as multiple different characters, not just Ben, and fight Vilgax's drones, and you get to travel around the universe, and you get to team up with a bunch of different characters, like you can even play, like, you can, play as the four main characters, Ben and Gwen, Kevin, Rook, not Grandpa Max. And you'll even be able to play as the villains like Albedo and Dr. Animo. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. It's going to have years and years of development. We've only been working on it for about a month now, but we've already started a wiki, which you can go check out in the description and check out all the hard work I've been putting into the wiki, creating pages for Ben's aliens, playable characters, locations, etc. That's what I've been doing all week long, and it's a lot of hard work working on both this wiki and the 5 years later wiki at the same time. So I hope you guys appreciate what I've been doing for those wikis. So yeah, check out the Ben 10 RPG wiki in the description below. Of course, you should go read 5 years later if you haven't already. Watch OKKO because it's a really good show. Watch Crossover Nexus when it comes out. And yeah, and I'll watch Innervation, and I'll tell you guys if it's good or not. So yeah, that's all I have to say in this video. Goodbye, guys.